Hello there. Hopefully you can't hear that blower heater that I've got on, because I've got some music on. And hopefully it drowns out the sound of this heater. I always give it a listen back after I've recorded. But yeah, this talk is called "What is the difference between narcissism and being a full-blown narcissist?" Well, first of all, we've all got touches of narcissism in us. For example, if you've got a wife, if you've got a husband, or and you have sex together, there's got to be a little bit of narcissism there in order for the sex to be fun. If you were to take that away, and you were to take every bit of narcissism away from the planet and people, when people have sex, when they mate together, it wouldn't be very fun. No one would have any desire in the bedroom to dominate their partners. It would, people would have no desire to succeed. So many people. I'm not a narcissist. We all have. What doesn't mean you're a full-blown narcissist, though. And I want to explain the difference. Recently, I done a test. It was online, just a couple of questions, and it was a load of questions, and I was very mild narcissism, not in the danger zone or nothing like that. But basically, I watch a couple of psychiatrist kind of people on YouTube, and one of them that I watch says that we all have the narcissism is just what's in the atmosphere, and so I want to explain, and also explain. I've got a website, www.lovelifefamily.com, and on my website I've got a page called Narcissism and How to Heal It. And this isn't just about calling people narcissists, it's about explaining to people how to heal it. Because what happened to me was I had an unexpected spiritual awakening at the age of 24. I'm 34 this year. So what happened in that unexpected spiritual awakening that none of my family members had apart from myself? Even my mother, who's a clairvoyant and medium and done all different things, loads of different things, but she never had a big spiritual awakening. None of my family did. I've not met anyone in the family yet that's had it apart from myself. It doesn't mean that I'm better or anything, but my point is, the reason why I got this is because I had enough. And so what happened in that moment of having enough, at that point, I didn't know I was dealing with an inner narcissist. I didn't call it that at the time, but I then started to pay attention to my inner self, you could say, which I call now the inner narcissist. And this is actually called shadow work, but I didn't know it was called shadow work. For years I was doing it, and then I started to go through this awakening, this transformation, and all the time it was actually it's in psychology, it's called shadow work. And that's where, whenever you get triggered, you pay attention, it's your inner narcissism. Whenever you get annoyed at something, that's your inner narcissism coming out, because there is no right and wrong. Right and wrong are made up. Everything's made up, right? Understand that everything is created by, like Steve Jobs from Apple, the creator of Apple, said, everything is made up by people who are no more smarter than you. And this manifests itself physically in our bodies. This is science now. It's in the Heart Math Institute talks about this, German New Medicine, and our minds and our problems can create physical problems as well in our bodies. So that's why it's very, very important to be on this healing path and pay attention to your inner narcissist. But the difference between being a full-blown narcissist is you can be a little bit narcissistic. You can be aware that you've got a little touch that's within everyone, and heal and work with it, right? And understand that it can actually be good for your life. It can actually help your life. It can help you mating with people with the opposite sex or the same sex, doesn't matter. and it can actually help you in your life. It's like the ego is painted as a negative thing, but the ego can actually help you along your path, you see, as well. So it's about working with these things, but you don't want to be a full-blown narcissist. For example, a little bit of narcissism and being a little bit dominating in the bedroom is one thing, and that's fun. But then when you're actually hurting other people for your own agenda, that's a different thing. Like you know, and that's the thing. If you're hurting others to fulfill your own agenda, and you don't care about this, you're hurting others. You've hurt someone else. You're draining them, and you're doing it because of yourself. It can be physical, it can be psychological, it can be both. But when you're doing that for your own agenda, or some narcissists even they'll lie about people. There's no end to what they'll do, and the reason they do all this stuff is because they're a full-blown narcissist, and they can't help it. I used to be before my spiritual awakening. I'll tell you a little quick story. I used to be a compulsive liar. I would lie, not about serious things, but I would lie about myself and try to build myself up. This is how sad I was, and I don't lie at all now. Totally authentic. So you can heal your inner problems, right? And and if you're if you're gonna do that, you're then becoming the example of what to be. But yeah, the difference is a full-blown narcissist will lie about others. They will hurt other people, and they've got a serious psychological issue. I don't know if this is seen as a mental illness yet. I don't think it is, but it is. Borderline personality disorder, I think, is seen as something. I'm not a psychiatrist, psychologist, so that's why I'm saying I think. But these, I believe that these borderline personality disorder and narcissism, they're related, and one can't exist without the other one. And I believe that's the core problems on the planet. And that's the difference. Someone that's got a little touch of narcissism will be good to themselves. They will likely pamper themselves. They'll be an example to others of how to love yourself, because you can't love others until you learn to love yourself anyway. So without that little touch of narcissism, you won't do that. You'll just give to others continually when there's nothing to give, because love is a projection of yourself onto that other person, or baby if you're a mother or something, or father, and you're projecting yourself onto that other person. That's how you actually get parents that are actually jealous of their children. You actually have this. There's so many people that post on like Twitter and stuff. I've seen them on the internet, and they say, I've had the spiritual awakening, but my family, they're jealous of me and stuff. And this is because the family members haven't begun to healing their own inner narcissism. What a lot of people do is it could be any external situation, and what they do is they react to the external situation, not realizing that their negative feeling about that person or situation is within you. That's your inner narcissism. And that's the way it is. It's like the end of last year, I contacted 2 women, and one of them was fine. It was during a meditation, and something came through me. I wanted to contact 2 women from my past that I knew. One just before my awakening, just the other one was just about when I started the awakening. And I spoke to them and told them about my awakening. One of them was fine, and the other one reacted negatively. But then I realised afterwards, this has nothing to do with you, Sean. This is this person's own inner problems because this person hasn't begun. And like a lot of people that I know in my life, actually, They haven't begun the healing process yet. They haven't begun to pay attention to when they're triggered about things. It's not the thing or the situation or the person. It's your own inner narcissism. I don't think I've heard psychologists or psychiatrists say this. Might be something I've created myself. I realised that we've all got an inner narcissist within us. That monster that reacts negatively. That monster that reacts negatively to situations, like those two women I contacted. One of the women that I contacted is actually a strange school teacher, and she was okay. She didn't react negatively, but the other one didn't have a good reaction, and it bothered me for a little while. But then I realised, I thought, well, you did your best. I had good intentions. My intentions weren't negative. But again, I'm using the story because that's an example of people that haven't begun to work with that monster that's within us. And until we learn to do this, things are going to get worse. It could be them two women that's actually listening to this right now, and if it is, the purpose of this talk is about paying attention to that inner narcissist. And you don't want to get rid of it. Like I said, like this talk has been about, it's not about getting rid of it, but you don't want it to a level where it's actually hurt. If it's hurting you, then that's when it becomes a problem. And then if it's hurting you, this is when people will hurt others. They do it because they can't help it. Like I said earlier, I used to be a compulsive liar. Not to hurt other people, but I would lie about myself, and I was just like that. I was harmless, but I used to hate myself for doing it. God, why can't I do this? And then the awakening came along, unexpected spiritual awakening, and then I started to change myself, and it took years. 10 years now I've been in this path. So, so don't push away the narcissist within you for the good things in your life, but don't have it at the level, or work with it if it's getting to the level, or if it is at the level of a full-blown narcissist. If you're hurting others or lying or lying about other people, or something because your own self, egoic self, and if it's going to if you're being really extreme with it, and that's when you've got to change. Right? And change is, you can only start within the present moment. It all starts within the present moment. And that's what I done at the age of 24. I sat down and had enough. I sat down in my bed and I had enough of everything up to that point. I had a bad start to life, you could say, just before I end this talk. And then I had a moment of authenticity where I just sat down. I never was authentic before. And then I started to go through an awakening. I didn't know what it was, and narcissism is something I got into years later. I discovered it on the YouTube, and then I started to talk about it. I thought, this is what I was going through. I believe I have insight into narcissism because I believe I was going down a narcissistic road myself. Now, there's a problem with my internet YouTube. I don't know if this talk's going to upload. I'll try my best. And it will be uploaded to lovelightfamily.com, and I'm just going to leave it there. And for latest updates, talks, news, research, songs as well, you can visit my website at www.lovelightfamily.com. Thank you for watching and listening.